Hey guys, it's Matt Wenning at winningstrength.com, and we are going to talk today about learning to squat before you squat. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but I want to get into it and talk to you guys because we've had some questions not only on Patreon, but YouTube and Instagram on, hey Matt, we're having problems learning how to squat correctly. What are some preemptive things that we need to be doing before we even put a bar on our back? Well, let's get to it.
Lately I've been living like I can't take a loss. They ain't wanna help me, that's what made me a boss. You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. We don't give a that's what they don't understand. I'm back again like flu season. I broke records while loose leafing. I'm coming down my roof, leaving. Don't give a I don't care. Did the by my lonesome. No wonder now I'm on one. No shortcuts on that long run. All I really want is my share.
The first thing that I think we need to understand is that learning how to squat correctly is learning how to brace correctly. Now, that can be very difficult in a squat position because you got a bar on your back that's uncomfortable, you're using your legs to move, and oftentimes with beginners and intermediates, they're not thinking about locking their core. Okay? Now, how we do that is doing a lot of bracing work for the TVA. The TVA is called your transverse abdominis. So most people think abs is like your six-pack muscle. But really underneath that you have muscles going this way that are your TVA. And those muscles are insanely important from locking your pelvis to your rib cage and making your body one integral piece of functional machinery. Okay? Now how do we get to that point? Well, we need to be doing a lot of planks. So front planks, side planks with leg raises. Those types of things need to be in your program before you even learn to squat. Once you learn how to brace better, you're going to find that when you crawl under a squat bar, it's a lot easier to squat once you learn how to use your abs. Case in point, Wenning Warm-ups, we do a lot of planks and we do a lot of ab work pre-squatting. Why? We want to activate the TVA, we want to get the core ready to squat. But in the beginning, if I were to take a person that never squatted before, they're going to do abs by themselves, or they're not even going to squat. They're just going to do this particular exercises we're talking about today, which one is planks. The next thing is that because 85% of the workforce is now a sit-down job, it's a desk job, it's not manual labor, we have problems with glute activation. So one of the big things we can do is glute bridges, okay, and staying on the heel with vertical shank step-ups. These particular exercises are going to force the body to utilize glute activation, therefore potentiate them into squat type movements. For those of you that don't know what potentiation means, it pretty much means to take a muscle group that might be dormant, potentiate it with movement or activate it with movement, get it neurologically fresh and hot, and then hopefully it plugs in to the actual compound movement, i.e. a squat that you want it to utilize. The problem with most people today, especially if they're under the age of 30, is that most of their life has been sitting down at a desk. We don't have a lot of kids that, one, really play sports a ton anymore, and two, think about how long you're sitting in class, college, etc. Hours and hours on end every day. The point is that when that happens, I truly believe the body gets what we call glute amnesia, which is where when you sit on your ass too much, your ass just deactivates and turns off. This is also super important with tactical divisions, because if you notice, most of those guys might be sitting around not doing a ton throughout the day other than after they check their trucks or whatever at the firehouse, and then they have to hop up, go take a run, and now they got a 400-pound person that's fell between, say, a tub and a sink, and they have to lift them up. Well, if 80% of your particular fire service is not working out, their glutes are going to be deactivated, and when they go lift, what are they going to use? They're going to use their lower back. Well, this is the same thing with teaching somebody how to squat. Most people understand spinal erectors and how to turn them on. So if the glutes are turned off, the spine has to work harder, therefore not only messing up your squat form, but also can cause injury when you have to hop up and do something really difficult like tactical divisions. The next big thing that we have to kind of follow down the chain of issues is hamstrings. For most people, we have a humongous quadricep to hamstring ratio problem. Now, for the average person, you want to have your hamstring to quadricep ratio as close to 1-to-1 as you possibly can. That takes years, if not decades, if not impossible to do. But what you'll find is that most people that have knee pain and back pain, I would almost guarantee you that their quadricep is twice as strong as their hamstring. Well, what do you think happens to the average person that hops under a squat bar? Well, they're going to have quadricep to hamstring imbalance issues, and therefore they're going to squat with their knee over their toe. Why? They want to use as much quad as possible. They don't know how to use their posterior chain. So getting back to my original point is we need to understand the posterior chain, we need to activate it, and we also need to turn on the transverse abdominal muscles before we even touch a bar. Now, we'll get into this more on Patreon, but there are steps in which to get to the bar on how to do it properly. So for that, go on Patreon and we'll show you the step-by-step keys in order to get under a straight bar and do it perfectly. Thanks for watching.
Lately I've been living like I can't take a loss.